Well, this brand hopes to do good while crafting quality chocolate as it works directly with farmers. Auro Chocolate's Mark Ocampo and Kelly Go share their sustainability business model. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. You started in 2015 but went full blast in 2017. It's now been 6 years. Kelly, let me start off with you. Why are you both so passionate about chocolate?
Firstly, we really love chocolate. That goes without saying. But I think really chocolate is our way to pay homage to the Philippines, its natural beauty, our history. You know, we really have such a long history with chocolate, first country in Asia to plant cacao. And really found that opportunity to showcase food culture and also really what the best the Philippines has to offer to Filipinos and to the world.
And Mark, of course, your philosophy in chocolate manufacturing is Philippines first. Everything is sourced from the Philippines.
Yes, exactly. That's a big part of who we are, and really our advocacy is really about working directly with farming communities. We want to be sure that farming communities are always paid respectfully, paid with respect, and so that at the end of the day we are able to elevate their standard of living as well. Because I think when it comes to companies within the Philippines, sometimes the farmers are always left behind, and I think it's always important to grow together.
And Kelly, in which particular farming communities in the country do you source your cocoa?
We're working with farming communities all over the Philippines, primarily right now. Our cacao is sourced in Mindanao, particularly Davao. And we work with especially minority communities there that previously didn't have access to the market. And many of these are our most award-winning origins at the moment. So it really shows that there is so much potential that is just untapped here in the Philippines.
Why do you source most of your cacao from Davao? Is it because of the soil, the richness of the soil that can really grow cacao trees?
I think Davao generally has amazing quality for soil, but at the same time, the whole country can actually grow cacao. I think the main concentration for cacao is just in Davao, but of course you can actually source from other places, which we're actually working on doing as well.
And Kelly, you've only been in this business for 6 years. You and
Feels
Mark,
like a lifetime.
It feels like a lifetime, but you have really been very successful. So much competition on the lower end, in the middle market, and in the high end. How were you able to find your niche, your secret chocolate success in the Filipino chocolate market?
Really focusing on innovation. You know, in everything, we really push ourselves to over-deliver, whether it's how we source the cacao sustainably, how we produce the products, the packaging, the marketing, the branding overall. We have really focused on every aspect of the business from the beginning. Also, education is a huge part of what we do because we feel that cacao, chocolate in general, is underappreciated, especially by Filipinos. They don't know anymore the rich history we have, the varieties of cacao that exist here. So really our goal is also so that they could appreciate it more, is that we need to share more information, more stories about cacao.
A lot of good stories about Auro chocolate, but of course, how is it like working with Kelly? And Kelly, how is it like working with Mark? I mean, how do you get all your ideas fused all together? And what kind of chemistry do you have for the success of Auro chocolate?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for both of us, it's really about respect and trust. And so at the end of the day, we put our friendship first. And we trust that each of us knows exactly like what we need to do to succeed, and vice versa. It's really just a good way of putting things first in our relationship, especially like when it comes to business. Of course, things will always get difficult, but at the end of the day, we have to remind ourselves that friendship always will come first.
Of course, friendship indeed comes first, because they always say, don't do business with your friends, right? You might end up as enemies.
That's what parents always say, but we hope to prove them wrong, and I think we've been doing that so far.
Exactly.
So
basically, who does what in the business, Kelly?
we decide on everything together. We share the same overall vision and direction. How we divide it, and which is good, is we have different strengths too. So we say...
What is your strength, Kelly?
I do mostly operations. So everything that kind of, we say like, you know, Mark really kind of works more on the outside. Marketing, PR, branding, all of those. And I work more on the operations, production.
Operation side, that means your factory is here in Luzon, right?
Yes, it's
Where
in
is it
Calamba.
located? It's in Calamba. So when it comes to marketing, branding, that means you're the one who does all the traveling, talking to the media.
No, not at all. I think Kelly and I do it at the same time. And it's really fun because we each have our own stories to tell and our own experiences. And I think at the end of the day, it's really just about sticking to what we do best. And that's really about being proudly Filipino.
Absolutely, proudly Filipino. And you've won numerous international awards. Not 10, not 20, not 30, but 60 international awards in 6 years. So what do you think does the international market like about the taste of the Auro chocolate brand?
They can really, I think they really appreciate the uniqueness of the product. We pay so much attention. That's why we're really working hand in hand with the farming communities. We believe that in order to have not only the best cacao, but also to play a very positive role in improving their livelihood, as Mark had said, is that we need to be there on the ground.
Of course, you have to be on the ground, improve the livelihood of the farmers. What about research and development? How key is that to your business?
That's actually very important to our business. I think ultimately at the end of the day, when it comes to technology, we always want to be at the front. And I think that a lot of the times what ends up happening is that research is being done outside of the country instead of being done within the Philippines. And
Why?
our approach...
Why outside of the country?
Because I think that because even if cacao is an old industry within the Philippines, it's 300 years old, the process of making chocolate was fairly new. And so what ended up happening was a lot more countries that are much older than us in terms of cacao and chocolate have been producing a lot of the research and development. But of course, when you apply that to another country, it's very different in terms of approach.
Like research and development from, of course, the chocolate meccas of the world, like the French and the Swiss.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we use their technology, but definitely apply it in our local context. The Swiss and the French, they don't make cacao, we do.
Yes.
So it's about time that we also are able to make the finished product and do the value adding ourselves.
And do we export our cacao to other countries apart from just manufacturing it? Do you also export the product to other countries around the world, so to also to promote our cacao farmers?
Yes, absolutely. We do cacao and chocolate, and currently we're available in about 50 countries around the world.
50 countries, and you also are expanding into cafes.
Yes.
Not only in Manila, but also overseas.
Really want to push to creating a very immersive chocolate experience for our ever-growing, customer base, and we really believe, especially with the pandemic, that the cafe was the way to do it. So currently we have 2 cafes. Our first one was in IKEA MOA Square. Second one, which is our flagship cafe, recently opened in BGC this year. And that's our first all-day brunch sit-down cafe. And also last year, we had the great opportunity to open in Bahrain.
Wow, that's your first international stint. So
Yes.
Mark, tell us, what is the big ambition for Auro Chocolate? Is it a stock market listing to open more branches overseas rather than just distributing the brand?
I think for us, really, we would love to be one of the household names for chocolate around the world, not just in the Philippines. Definitely more exposure, especially with a cafe, to really bring the proudly Filipino identity across the world and not just within the Philippines. I think that that's something that's super important to us because I think even in terms of other brands, right, in terms of what we represent, we really try to have Filipino kind of woven into identity. And so even when it comes to our uniforms, it's all work done by communities within the Philippines. Everything is really Filipino, and that's what we want to share with the world.
It's about Filipino inclusivity. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word, and congratulations on the success of Auro Chocolate, Kelly Go, and Mark Ocampo.